you so much for joining me today, Mr. Scott Griffiths.
No problem at all.
Sorry. It's the end of the day. It's all right. We get forgiven for this. So, InHouse Publishing is one of the 2023 Writers' Festivals, Logan Writers' Festival's best and most prolific sponsors. But they've been with us from the start. But this year, you are the platinum sponsor. How does that feel?
We're very proud to, join you guys at the Logan Writers' Festival. Over the last few years, we've always had an interest and a presence at the festivals. But this year, we've decided to up the ante and
Yes.
join forces with you to produce the best ever Logan Writers' Festival.
Oh, it's going to be phenomenal.
Mhm.
So not only is it indoors this year, which is a key factor. The first year, the gods were happy with us and they were like, oh, a new thing, let's shine on that. And then the second year, they're like, let's see how they cope. We got hit with gale force winds and we got absolutely drenched on the very first day. I couldn't cry, I had to laugh, because if I wasn't laughing, I was just going to cry. So I am so glad you stuck with us through that. But this year, we are at the Logan West Community Centre. It feels weird to talk to a camera that's got no, it's like we have to put a face on the ring light.
That's all right.
So I had my first books, I don't know if you knew this, but I had my very first books published with InHouse Publishing. The very glamorous Mr. Stuart Fleming recommended InHouse, and I didn't know anything about Logan's literary sphere. And InHouse Publishing gave me such a good kickstart to understand what I was looking at and what was actually possible. I remember, I don't know if you guys do this anymore, but I got a list from you guys when I published the first time, because I got a whole big package. I got 500 copies of my very first book. And if you ever wanted the first edition of the first Wolflock Cases book, you can pick it up right here. But you can't get it anywhere else. These are the last copies of that first edition book. So that's very special.
That's a little plug for you there.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's that special moment. I was talking with Kathy about this today, when someone finally holds their book in their hand. It's like holding a baby for the very first time. And it's just such a magical moment. You guys facilitate that.
Exactly, that's the main thing we love to do. Helping first-time authors is certainly a passion of mine, and it always has been of this business. There's not many publishing companies out there that can do everything themselves in-house. A lot of people
comes with the name.
A lot of people be aware that most publishing houses out there are just offices, and they subcontract out a lot of the work.
Yes.
We do everything here, from the formatting, editing, all your registration, the printing, hardcovers, every
bookmarks,
everything we handle for you. And as a first-time author, that having that one-stop shop where you can do everything, it just helps. And we have a big passion for helping them first-time authors, and that's why we create the online bookstore as well, which we do to help authors, to sell their books. There's not many places where you can sell your books and you actually get 80% of the sale price.
Oh yeah,
and that
very
makes a huge
places.
difference. When you get into the bookstores, as you know, sometimes you're only getting 20% of the sale price, which a lot of the time doesn't even cover the cost of printing your books.
Absolutely not.
Unless you're printing thousands and thousands. So that little opportunity, what we do is it just helps all them first-time authors.
Yeah.
And we also offer the opportunity where authors can actually offer their books for pre-sale, which makes a huge difference. Some of our authors have come to us, they've got followings and stuff, they've actually sold their books before we've even started printing them. So that makes a huge difference for them as well.
There's actually quite a few of those authors speaking at the Logan Writers Festival this year, so I'll be excited to see everyone there who's part of InHouse Publishing. And something about what you just said there, helping with the editing. You don't just get editing with InHouse Publishing, you also get an understanding of what is happening with that editing. I didn't go with the editing because I have someone who's got a master's in editing, but from what I've seen and from the bits and pieces that I've had with InHouse Publishing, you guys pick up on stuff that looks a bit clunky, and you always call up, like with our signs. In particular, it now says properly, get your tickets here, but it said scan your tickets here, as if it was a check-in. And it's just little things like that that do make a big difference.
It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been in the industry for 34 years now. As a 16-year-old starting in the publishing world, I've been so used to having to read everything, and I check everything, and I look over everything. Obviously, impossible for me to read every single manuscript.
Oh no, please don't ask Scott to read your manuscripts. He doesn't have time.
We've got over 100 books on the go. It's rather impossible. And I know some of our authors say, have you read my book yet? Have you read my book yet? But yeah, I'll always go over and we always check through everything thoroughly. We'll always run a printer's proof out before we actually go to press, which the client will get an unbound proof to check over.
Yes, I have a giggle with that. When I received my unbound proofs from InHouse, I used to call them naked books because you've got the manuscript and it's all these loose pages, which I would highly recommend using those in marketing and display and things like that because it's really cool. But also, everyone got a huge giggle out of seeing the book come out of the cover without any glue or binding or anything in it, and it was just a good little in-joke for every book launch I had. I always present a naked book.
And it just helps, just actually, it makes a big difference to actually see your book on the stock it's going to be printed on.
Yes.
That makes a huge difference. If you've got colour pages in there or anything like that, there's only so much you can look over on a digital version, going backwards and forwards, doing your markup.
Yes.
To see the actual printed pages, what the stock's going to be printed on, makes a huge difference. And then you can pick up any final amendments that need to be made throughout that process.
Yes. And the other thing is, InHouse knows. So I had someone try and give me a quote for a book once. This is way back when in the day. And they're going to print the whole book on gloss paper. You don't print, and they're going to print it on white paper as well. And for fiction, you don't print it on white paper, and you sure as hell don't print a 100-page book on gloss paper.
Yeah.
You print it on like your normal stock paper, and you print it on cream if it's fiction.
If you can. And I must admit, there's been a lot of change in that area, and I've got a passion for the cream stocks for novels.
It ages so beautifully. Like it makes the thing that book sniffers love.
It does, and I found that a big difference in over the years. And I know from working in London, from when I first began, all novels were always done on a cream or ivory stock.
Yeah.
And internals, that's for novels. Education books and things like that would always be on the white stock, which makes it clear for people to read. Novels are normally read in bed at night a lot of the time, so you've got the low light, and that makes it a lot easier and a lot more soothing to read. But in recent times, I think it's because a lot of the youngsters now are so used to reading on screens and stuff like that. When you see a lot of the young editors come in, they prefer to use the white stock.
Really? Oh.
And I've noticed that quite a lot in recent times.
I wonder how much of a foothold that change will have. I will always print on cream. I love it.
And I do. I think if it's a novel, for sure. Education books, if you go to like biographies, maybe that can still go for a lot and still choose the white stock for that. But if it's a novel, for sure, I'd always recommend going on the cream stock. I like that.
Yeah. And
old school
it ages better. It ages better. Like, when I've got my books lined up at home and I look at the oldest one, it's got that beautiful yellowed tone to it, and it's like, it's going to smell great and it's going to feel great, and you're going to hear there's something satisfying about the crunch of the page as it turns, as it ages, and it's just you can't lose that. The ebooks will never replace that. They've hit their pinnacle. I find the ebooks have reached their point, they've found their place, and now paperbacks and ebooks they're never going to match in sales because ebooks are so fast and you can get them out so quickly. But they found the position that they have from here on out, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
But
audiobooks are finding that space.
I'll be interested to see what goes on in the next few years, but I've definitely seen that increase on the white stocks for the younger people that much better. And I believe it's because they're so used to staring at a screen, reading on screens and looking at their
that makes sense.
So
that makes sense.
We'll see how it goes.
I wonder if it will change to white and then come back to the ivory and the cream stock, because that means people's eyes get to rest. And I think 71% of Australians, as per one of the last surveys that was done, say that reading is their primary leisure activity. That is what helps them unwind and turn off and relax. They don't find scrolling relaxing. It's not relaxing, it's stressful.
It is.
A recent study actually just came out saying that the majority of heart attacks correlate directly with Twitter usage. So it's like people who are more prone to getting a heart attack use Twitter, and I would extend this to other social media as well. They use other social media more because it stresses you out and it makes you anxious. Whereas when you're reading a book, you might get waves of emotion, but primarily you're at a zen state.
I find for me personally, staring at a screen all day at work.
Oh,
And
the
dealing
last
with
thing
that,
you want to
the
do.
last thing you want to do is sit there. And yes, there's value in the Kindles, and we do the upload of ebooks and everything like that for anyone. And yes, it's very acceptable because it's another income revenue you can generate. But for me, no, I can't be reading on screen. I spend enough time looking at my phone, looking at the screens and computers all day long. When I get home, when I do read,
when you do, what? Don't give Scott your manuscripts to read. He's not going to read them.
And this is the problem with me. I've actually got, I think, 8 books I'm currently reading. I'm one of those people. I read numerous books. Rather than go down a novel route, I read a lot of history sort of books and stuff like that. So you can tend to leave them and come back to them and things like that.
Oh,
so I've actually got
excellent.
8 books on the go that I'm reading at the moment.
Oh my
so,
goodness!
yeah.
What do you like to read?
As I
Don't
said,
give Scott your manuscript.
Yeah.
even if what he's about to say.
Give me your manuscripts, but don't get cross if I can't read the whole thing.
Give Scott your manuscripts so he can publish them,
Yes.
but don't expect him to read your
every
manuscripts,
single one.
even if it is this exact next thing that he says.
And I will. There's lots of things that I'm interested in. I have a passion for ancient history,
Beautiful.
future, politics,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's my kind of cup of tea.
Ah,
I like a
fiction or non-fiction?
I like a bit mixture of anything, I do like, I hate to say it though, but I was always, I did like the Dan Brown novels.
I liked them
and
too.
I must admit, I love that sort,
I liked
that sort
them
of thing.
too. The Da Vinci Code was
Yeah,
like,
they're all these whole novels. And for me, it's something like that. Yes, there's a lot of fluff and stuff like that, but there's some really educational bits and some true elements in there which help people understand some of the ancient history, the ancient past. I like that sort of stuff.
if anything is going to help people to dig deeper into history and start researching stuff and take a passion in the past, I think that's a great thing. It doesn't matter how people write trashier fiction than that. At least he was clever with his.
Yeah, well, I have a big passion for Carl Sagan's one of my heroes as well. So I
Yes.
love a lot of that stuff.
Very
that's one of
good.
my things. So yes, I love the stars and space and stuff like that.
Beautiful.
So, and sci-fi. as well.
Excellent. Speaking of the future, what is coming up for InHouse Publishing?
Oh, we've got so much on the go at the moment here. As I said, I think we've got over 100 books on the go at the moment.
Incredible.
I tend to spend most weekends heading to different book launches. We've got a big one coming up for a lovely young lady called Karen Monroe. I might see if she should be able to come along to the festival. She's just wrote a lovely history book on called From Wonglepong to Mount Tambourine. She spent her whole life up there.
Amazing.
And it's a lovely book that we just published for her. We've also got an amazing book we're doing at the moment, which is for the Mermaid Beach Surf Lifesaving Club, which is about their whole history, and it's a giant hardcover book, beautiful bit, about 500 odd pages, images that are just spectacular. But we've got lots and lots on the go, so many to mention that it's just
That's amazing.
But hopefully we'll have numerous of our authors, which we'll be sending out invites to all of them to come along to the Logan Writers Festival this year.
Perfect.
And but with the children's books as well, we've got some amazing children's books that we do. And
I
we've got on the go.
actually know a lot of the children's authors that come through InHouse. I feel like I've met about at least 60% of them.
Yes.
You come through this beautiful space, and it's this whole wall is just covered in all of the books that InHouse Publishing has printed, or a lot of the books. And
over 7,000 titles.
over 7. Okay, you get a small fraction of the books that InHouse Publishing has printed here, but
Considering we started in 1997 as just a printer,
wow.
and then we've gone through the thing and built up. Started in Bob's garage.
Oh,
would you believe?
that's
So
incredible.
That's where he started doing printing in there, and then it's stepped up and gone to the print factory, and then the publishing business has come on board, and so it's
Wow.
been non-stop.
Yeah. You guys have always done a fantastic job, and the community engagement it's been fantastic. I am so proud to have InHouse Publishing be our platinum sponsor for the Logan Writers Festival this year.
I'll just talk about one little. I just want to mention one other
Go for
author.
it. Go for it.
We got a guy called Brian Berry. He's actually on his book
Yes.
number 8. He's 94 years old. He's wrote some amazing books, and hopefully we're going to get him to come along with us as a little health.
I am so excited if he can come along.
Brian is an absolute legend. He's done everything. He was an ABC presenter. He was in the Korean War. He's just gone through all sorts, but he's wrote some amazing books, and Yeah, he's on his 8th novel at the moment and 93 years old. He done a follow-up to one of his books. He just finished a book called Damned Currency, which is about when the convicts came over initially and the trade and what happened. It's an amazing book what he wrote. And someone mentioned to him where it ended, and I'd love to know a bit further about what went on. He went off and within 8 weeks he'd wrote a follow-up book to a second edition. And it's just amazing what the guy's doing. And yeah, he's on book number 8 at the moment and 93 years old.
Oh my goodness.
So Brian hopefully will be coming along.
Absolute champion. Yes. Oh, if come along to the festival, if Brian's there, we've got to get photos with Brian because he may be Logan's oldest author.
Yes.
And I feel like he needs a crown for that.
Yeah. We've got numerous, and we've got some other. Got a lovely lady down at the Logan Arcare, Logan Reserve. She's in Arcare there. She's wrote a lovely children's kind of poetry book. Linda Woodward, her name is, and again, she's another one I'd love to come along and she'd be in her element down there, loving it. So local Logan residents, we have so many that.
We have so many authors in Logan, and the whole point of the Logan Writers Festival was to help bring them all together, because by coming together, by networking with one another, and by having the most powerful agencies within Logan come together as well, we lift everyone up. We can make Logan the literary sphere of Queensland. So I get very jealous of privately between us and the camera. I get very jealous of how prolific Brisbane and the Gold Coast are with all of their writing groups and with all of the association stuff, the competitions that they have. And so it has been my dream for the last 3 years plus, probably ever since I published, which is 2017, to bring Logan into that space as well. So
I think the quality of what we produce, I can say that I live down on the Gold Coast myself, but the quality of what's produced here in Logan and what we actually have published over the past few years, which I've looked through, amazing.
Yeah.
Totally different, obviously. And yeah, there's no reason why we can't be better than Brisbane and the Gold Coast.
Yeah, no.
Why not?
We are the pinnacle of them.
Exactly.
They are there, and they just feed us all their energy and bring us to the top.
Exactly.
We love you, Brisbane and the Gold Coast. Please come to the festival.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be extraordinary to have you there this year. So I am really excited for that. And you will be able to meet Scott and some of the other in-house team, hopefully. They'll come along, as well as, we were trying to discuss this. You might be able to help me with this. What would you call the collective noun for authors?
Oh.
I was thinking it would be fun to call them a chapter, chapter of authors.
No, I think a scribble.
A scribble of, oh my goodness, that's amazing. Yes, all right. So you'll be able to meet InHouse's scribble of authors at the Logan Writers Festival on the 9th and 10th of June. Thank you so much for chatting with me today, Scott.
Very looking forward to it and meeting some lovely new aspiring authors and some old ones that may want to come and have a chat with us and see how we move forward with you.
Definitely.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right. We will see you then and there. Bye.
Thanks, Ray.